sisters, the Lord is with you.
And also with you.
We continue listening to God speak to us from the Gospel in the tradition of Matthew.
Glory to you, Lord.
When Jesus heard that John had been arrested, he went back to Galilee. He left Nazareth and went and settled in Capernaum, a lakeside town near the territory of Zebulun and Naphtali. In this way, the prophecy of Isaiah was fulfilled. Land of Zebulun, land of Naphtali, the way to the sea from the far side of the Jordan, Galilee of the nations. The people that live in darkness have seen a great light. On those living in the land of the shadow of death, a light has dawned. From that time, Jesus began his preaching with the message, repent, for the reign of God is at hand. As Jesus was walking along the Sea of Galilee, he saw two brothers, Simon, now known as Peter, and his brother Andrew, casting a net into the sea. They were fishermen by trade. Jesus said to them, "Come, follow me, and I will make you fish for people." They immediately abandoned their nets and began to follow Jesus. Jesus walked a little farther along and caught the sight of two other brothers, James and John, sons of Zebedee. They too were in their boat, getting their nets in order with their father. Jesus called them, and immediately they abandoned the boat and father and followed Jesus. Jesus toured all of Galilee, teaching in the synagogues, proclaiming the good news of the reign of God, and healing all kinds of diseases and sicknesses among the people. And this, my brothers and sisters, is the gospel, the good news of our salvation. By the words of the gospel, may our sins be blotted out. Amen. As always, it is good for us to be here and going on the theme of the entrance hymn, all are welcome. Jesus calls you and me for a commitment. Jesus called you and me for a lifetime commitment. Those of us who are in religious life, be we men or women, there's a certain period of time when you sort of look at the life you're going to encounter. You take a vow for 1 year, then you take a vow for another year, and then for a couple of more years. And then we make a commitment for life. And even that commitment for life can be rescinded by the individual. But when we commit ourselves to Christ, there's no maybe, if, and, or but. And that's not the way it is on the part of God. Now, on our part, people walk away every day. And by the same token, many people enter the church every day. And depending on the atmosphere they find in a particular place, they will stay. Stay for a while, and then maybe move on to something else. Now, all of us who come here, we pass many other churches along the way. Some of us come from a good distance, from Boca, from Deerfield, from Plantation. And we found something here. We found that presence of God, which is a gift. We've been called, each one of us in our own way, has been called by name. Not just the name we got on the day of our baptism, but we've been called in the quietness of our hearts. Last week, I used the terminology that we have to be intimate with God. And what I said last week, for those of you who weren't here, is that when we establish a relationship with somebody, a partner, a spouse, we want them to know exactly who and what we're all about. We have to be in love with God. Or as I mentioned last week, we have to really date God. That might sound kind of strange, to date God. One of the greatest challenges of our age is the need to disconnect from technology in order to connect to ourselves. And by connecting to ourselves, we really connect to the presence of God in our lives. We could fool a lot of people. We could fool our best friends. We could fool ourselves. But we can't fool God. And even with all of our warts, all of our imperfections, God loves us. No matter what we think about ourselves, we have to be true to the call of God. Reading further from this book that I mentioned last week, Dating God by Franciscan Friar, if we have any hope and desire to know God, to be in relationship with God, we have to know our true self. That's something for each one of us. No matter how old we are, no matter how many years we've been involved with the church, the true self is what is in love with God. Things pass. We change. God is constant. God is there for you and me. Just as Jesus called Peter and Andrew and James and John, and they left everything because they saw something in the man who called. Please God, we also see something in that Jesus, which is in each one of us. So let's walk in that presence of the light. As the responsorial psalm said to us tonight, God is our light and our salvation. Pray for me, I pray for you. And may God bless us and keep us. May God's face shine upon us and give us peace, now and always.
Amen.